My name is Ashley Bell. My wife and I decided to make a decision that we've been thinking and praying about for a long time. As an elected member in Hall County, we decided to switch parties and become a member of the Georgia Republican Party. The time was right for me and my family to break ourselves away from the hyphenated Americanism of the Democratic Party. We sought the freedom to be identified by our values and our beliefs, not our color, not our gender, not our income, or our faith.
I want to bring in Ashley Bell. He's an RNC delegate from Georgia. Nice to see you again, Ashley.
Good to see you again,
Let me
Kate.
just ask you point blank, what do you make of Donald Trump's comments about Judge Curiel and his comment over the weekend that a Muslim judge might not be able to be impartial in a trial involving Trump University?
It's astounding that Donald Trump released his own prejudice. He came on TV and said that he would be prejudiced against a Muslim or a Latino possibly being on the bench, and this is disheartening. He's missing the best opportunity he could have gotten. We've had a month with him being able to unify the party and to progress his campaign. All that's wasted now. All that's wasted. Hillary Clinton's going to wrap up the nomination in a week, and we're worse off today as a party than we were a month ago.
But for Hillary Clinton is Crooked Hillary, and Bernie Sanders is putting that pressure on her to be more transparent, expose the links to Wall Street. So is this something you relish in at the moment?
You know, no one would have thought that the Republican Party would be sitting back with a nominee at this point and watching the Democrats still fight it out.
Right.
I think to Angela's point, I don't think Bernie Sanders is in it just because he wants his voters to show up to the polls and be counted. I think he's about to call the question for the soul of the Democratic Party. He wants those delegates to go to Philadelphia, and he wants that platform to reflect his views on where he thinks the party should go. And I think he can do that with enough delegates.
Thanks for having me.
So I have to start with, you used to be a Democrat, from what I understand. You actually spoke at the 2004 Democratic Convention up on stage. And now you're a delegate about to cast a ballot for Donald Trump. Talk about the change of heart.
You know, it's been an amazing life. You know, when I was national president of College Democrats of America, I was 21, 22 years old when I was a DNC member. I was a member of the Democratic National Executive Committee, and as I got older, the politics of the Democratic Party changed. I'm from the South. I consider myself a Southern Democrat, and those are extinct now.
America today is very polarized when it comes to the issue of race. How is the Trump campaign dealing with that to attract minority voters? Why should they vote for Trump?
Well, I can tell you, directly to your point, that happened in many cities around this country. It's still today, children of color don't receive the right education because they live in the wrong neighborhoods. And what Donald Trump has done is speak directly to this issue and say to parents, if you live in places where your children aren't getting a good education, I would rather you make the decision on the school you go to instead of letting Hillary Clinton make that decision.
Delegate and strategist Ashley Bell, thanks for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with this. Do you think Trump needs to release his tax returns, and why?
I think he does. I think it's going to plague him until he does. It's amazing that the first hit was about his tax returns. Out of everything you've had to report on with Donald Trump, the first Hillary Clinton ad was the tax returns. Let's just get it out of the way, release what he can, because it should be an equal standard. She should also release her transcripts from Goldman Sachs and any other documents. People want transparency. People want a president that's transparent, so I think he should. Key for anyone running for president. So Hillary Clinton should know that better than anyone. When will she release her transcripts from Goldman Sachs and these other places?
I'm going to bring you back to the top of the conversation. When is he going to release his taxes, and should he?
He should. He really should. The standard should be equal on both sides. Hillary should release hers, he should release his. Taxes, transcripts, all of that. People need to know. And we want to make sure if you're going to be president that you're going to maintain that level of transparency throughout the term in office.
Okay,
Let's talk about what we just saw a part of. If people were watching yesterday, the last time we saw Donald Trump in public was this real fiery news conference where he went very personal against some reporters. He talked about other Republicans. People who back him in the primary may love this kind of rhetoric from him. They certainly love the press bashing. But I guess my question is, doesn't he need to move a little toward the middle to get all the folks that are in that middle area on the fence? And is he really going to get them with that kind of talk?
You know, I wasn't one of those folks that didn't support him in the primary. I was with Marco Rubio. But I can tell you, he's bashing the press is a popular thing to do in the Republican primary. It's a part of his brand. It's a part of his playbook. But I don't think it's going to get him where he wants to go. I appreciate his directness about it, but nobody's going
going to pat you on the back for doing good deeds like supporting the vets. It was a great thing that he did, but the press is never going to give you a round of applause.
Strategist and RNC delegate Ashley Bell. Mr. Bell, thank you. Where does this?
Thank you.
You know exactly what the topic is right now.
Right.
Go make the case for Trump in the world of minorities and how he's going to try to get his share. People say he needs 30-some% of the Latino vote in this country. He needs a certain percentage of the black vote. He can't do it all in white votes. So how's he do it?
You know, I think he's got a lot of work to do. I'm not going to make the case to say that Donald Trump has done himself any favors. The reality is with the Latino vote, I think he thinks he can win without it. That's the tough part. When it comes to the African-American vote, we have a long way to go to get this conversation going. To me, Chris, what's got to happen is he has to have people who have credibility on the issues that affect minorities close to him and in his circle. Part of building the party, part of unifying the party means he needs to bring those people close in. That hasn't happened yet, and I hope it will happen soon.
Is an RNC delegate from Georgia. And Ashley, I welcome you to talk about this because there reportedly is conversation at this retreat about Paul Ryan and other GOP leaders' continued support of Donald Trump despite all of his stumbles. What's your feeling on these lawmakers who are walking this fine line, straddling this fence, saying what he said is racist, but they're still going to endorse him?
Well, look, as far as the convention is concerned, the game's over. There are no superdelegates in the Republican Party. You know, I was a superdelegate on the Democratic side, and you could vote for whoever you wanted to until the last minute. That's not the case with the Republican Party. Everyone's a grassroots leader, and they're beholden to the people that sent them. So that door is closed. That ship has sailed. Now, when it comes to what do we do next, my party needs to understand we're all on the same team. And what happens, this is like the NBA Finals. It's the third quarter. We're down by 11 points since today's poll. And unless we get it together, we're going to lose.
See, at the DNC news conference where they set up rigged games because they have repeatedly said the political system is rigged, Republican Ashley Bell of Hall County, Georgia, said this about Representative Johnson.
Using the word termites at all, I think, is something that I think Congressman Johnson should rethink that word in itself. No one lives peacefully alongside termites. When people think of termites, they think of something that needs to be exterminated.
You okay here? You need some protection at DNC?
They sweated me out outside, Alan. I was outside about 30 minutes. But
all right, how can an African-American person support Donald Trump? You know his history of racial statements. Go down the list. His father's housing discrimination, a company he inherited. But it started with his father being called on discrimination more than once.
If you just want to just put African-Americans in a box, then you have to say, all right, well, pick the candidate that you think likes black people the most, which I don't do that analysis before I pick a president, but that's what you're saying. Right. So what I'm saying is that if you want to look at, let's just say we take the liberal analysis and you say you only vote for the person who identifies with your race. If you do that,
I'm not talking about identifying with your race, I'm talking about not being a bigot.
Well, it's still the same thing. If you want to do that, let's look at Hillary Clinton. Let's look at the 1990s.
This is very personal to Governor Romney. He understands there's no more important position to be the nominee of a major party in this country, and he held the mantle for the party. And he did what he thought was right for the party, and he had the right tone and tenor that he felt was appropriate, and he thinks that Donald Trump is not leading in the way that he would like to see him lead. And it's unfortunate because our party right now is not unified. We're worse off today than we were a month ago when Donald Trump assumed the nomination. And I think Governor Romney is just going to continue to remind the party of where he thinks they need to go, and there's nothing wrong with that.
But no relatives of slain police officers were on the speaker's list. So what message does that send? Here to weigh in on this is Trump delegate, chairman of the 2020 Club, Mr. Ashley Bell. Ashley, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Having them speak is not sitting well with some groups. The Fraternal Order of Police saying that it's giving a voice to people who attack officers, not giving a voice to the slain police officers. What are your thoughts?
I think that this was the moment that Black Lives Matter as a movement completely became an operation of the Democratic Party. That slogan now is too small to meet the enormity of the challenges we have as a country right now. Black Lives Matter, unfortunately, is a Twitter hashtag. And being a Twitter hashtag, I guess you only got 140 characters, but they needed one more word. If they said Black Lives Matter 2, T-O-O, then I think everybody would be okay with it. Sure. But when you leave off that last part, this is where we are. And I think last night showed that this movement no longer has a place in mainstream. It has a place in the liberal left.
Right. Now, the police 2010 is when I switched parties. That's when being a conservative Democrat became an oxymoron. When Democrats have full control of all the government, it basically showed that the leftist side of the party was going to run everything. So When Obamacare happened, I couldn't stay. Like when they ran Obamacare through, I decided I had to leave.
That is a very interesting.
Ago, we heard from someone in the Hillary Clinton camp, Ashley, that she was going to take a gentle, cordial approach. But having said that, in 90 minutes, it's hard not to think that maybe a skirmish or two won't break out. If that's the case, where does Donald Trump focus his fire?
You know, I think it's going to start off kind of slow. I agree. But I think as the time moves on and they get comfortable with each other, you're going to see a little bit more activity. And there's just no way Hillary Clinton does not attack Donald Trump. Out of everything she's called him and she said about him and his supporters, I can't see her going 90 minutes without attacking him.